Hi, this is Kenny at Kaholo with another video, how to get things done the Kaholo way. Today we'll be specifically looking at PI or Pitest mutation testing for Java applications. I have a sample application with JUnit 5 tests, and we're going to apply this technology to do mutation testing on that application in Kaholo. For those of you who aren't familiar with Kaholo, Kaholo is a low-code automation platform for testing and DevOps, among other things. You can see our website at kaholo.io, and today I'm going to show you how to use Kaholo to do that Pi mutation testing. Okay, now getting back to this mutation testing, what is this all about anyway? Well, this is a system specifically for Java unit tests. Their URL is at pitest.org. And if we scroll down a little bit here, we can see what exactly is mutation testing. This is well, I'm no expert, but my understanding is that mutation testing makes subtle changes to your code that's being tested, and then it runs your unit tests against that mutated code. Then it analyzes the results of the test to determine if your code is covered by your unit tests at all, and if it is covered, how well it's covered. So it's basically testing your unit tests. And the theory is if you refine your tests to get good mutation test results, then it becomes very difficult to write bugs that still pass unit testing. What's really cool about PI test or Pi test, I'm not sure how to pronounce it correctly, is it comes up with a really nice HTML report, and it shows you your actual code and color codes lines to show you how good your coverage is. Green being pretty good, and red being, of course, the worst case, based on this mutation test result. So we'll get a much closer look at this when we do the actual testing in Kaholo. I'm going to switch to my code window now. As I said before, I'm using a test application called the Pet Clinic. This is widely available on the internet. There's many iterations of Pet Clinic. But it's a basic Java application, and in my case I took the Spring Boot version of this. It comes complete with a bunch of JUnit 5 tests. And in order to do the PI test, you can see all I've had to do is add to my Maven POM XML. That's the file that tells Maven how to do the build of this project. This section to include this Pitest or PI test plugin. Now you might be familiar with Gradle or Ivy or Ant or some of those other tools. I just chose Maven for this example. There's no particular reason it has to be Maven, but with the other tools I imagine it is as easy to add this Pitest functionality in. And it's simple as that. There's no code changes required, not to your application, not to the JUnit 5 tests themselves. You just plug this thing into Maven, and then off you go. Alright, now getting back to Kaholo. Here's my pipeline in Kaholo, and I did a full end-to-end example pipeline here. You can see on the far left we start with a GitHub trigger. So if anyone makes a commit to this pipeline or to the project, the Java project, we'll want to run another round of testing. And so that's what happens. It gets triggered when there's a commit in Git, and then we clone that repository, so we got the new version of the code. The next action is the Maven plugin, and you can see that just runs the test, the PI test itself. And now normally in Maven you just run Maven build or maybe Maven package, something like that. In this case, I'm compiling only far enough to do testing, and then we give it this third argument to run the Pitest portion, and that's the key. Okay, once the test is completed, it's going to have a result, as I said, an HTML result, and I'm just using a little bit of command line trickery here to figure out what the name or the actual path and folder name of that result is going to be, and we'll use that next in the next action. I also forked off a little slack to dev. I'd put conditional code on that so that only if the test fails will the developers get notified by Slack that something's gone wrong with that most recent commit. But let's suppose the test does just fine, and we come up with a new test report, and then the next step, I'm going to upload that to an Amazon S3 static website, and that's so that the test results will be available to anyone who'd be interested in viewing them. And then the next action, again, I do a little command line trickery to make links, and this is just composing an HTML tag so that in the final results we get a nice link, a nice clickable link. And then finally we email and or Slack those links to the test results off to QA, and well, by email or by Slack. Now I would run this in real time for you to view it. I can do it, but it's going to grind up a lot of my computer time here. It'll be hard to record video doing that, and I've just run it a moment ago, so we can look at my results from just a couple minutes ago. And you can see here the steps. We've cloned the repository. We've executed the tests using the Maven plugin. We got the result. It turns out in this case the report is dated, well, today, and that's the time that the test result was completed. And then as far as the slacking and the emailing, I skipped those steps because this is just an example pipeline. I don't actually want to spam anybody with it. Then we uploaded to S3 and made the links. So now you can see I've got a link down here in final results. And when I click on that, it takes me to our static website in Amazon, and here's our test coverage report. Now this is where it gets really cool, because for example, if we look at the class pet clinic owner, you can see there's 190 or 176 lines of coverage and lots of tests. So if we drill in a little bit there, we can see that there's 8 individual classes that are all covered by these tests. And then if I pick one, for example, the pet controller Java, it'll take me right into the code, and it's color coded here to show me, for example, the green lines, this code's well covered by our unit tests, and the red ones are not well covered, especially the dark red ones, not at all covered. And it also shows us details about what types of mutations it applied to the code in order for these tests to either pass or fail, and whether they survived or were killed. That's the language they use for whether or not the unit tests pass when they're applied to the mutated code. So it's some pretty neat stuff, and as you can see, it's pretty easy to do in Kaholo. Again, the Kaholo website is at kaholo.io, and for this testing, that website's at pitest.org. Thanks for your time. See you in another video. Bye-bye.